Hey there, podcast listeners. Before we dive into today's episode, we have an exciting offer from our sponsor, Manscaped.
That's right. Manscaped is a global leader in men's below-the-waist grooming, if you didn't know. And they offer precision-engineered tools for your family jewels.
And guess what, folks? Our listeners get an exclusive 20% off their purchase if you use the promo code BUSHLEAGUE.
Whether you're a Manscaped veteran or first-timer, Manscaped has the right tool for the job. From the new Lawnmower 5.0 trimmer to the Crop Preserver ball deodorant, we've got you covered.
Boom goes the dynamite.
I think you should try one more time. Maybe say they've got you covered, because I don't want to cover anybody's
Put the promo code in and we'll come over and do it for you.
Now let me tell you something, brother. Manscaped is a game changer. It's not just about grooming. It's about confidence.
Absolutely. Manscaped's products are designed with your comfort in mind. No nicks, no snags, just smooth results every time.
And with that 20% off using promo code BUSHLEAGUE, there's no reason not to step up your grooming game.
So what are you waiting for? Head over to manscaped.com and pick out your grooming essentials. Remember, 20% off using the code BUSHLEAGUE.
That's right, manscaped.com with your promo code BUSHLEAGUE, BUSHLEAGUE, for 20% off. Your family jewels will thank you.
Welcome to the Bush League Podcast, a show about nothing and everything.
I saw some of it.
Some of it.
I'm in the middle of exam week here. I have got no life whatsoever.
Yeah, middle of exam week. Fun for you.
Oh my gosh.
Don't touch that dial, folks. Stay with us here for the next hour for the Bush League Podcast, see? We've got jokes, we've got laughs, we've got everything you need to entertain you for the next hour. So stay there. Don't touch that dial.
Where in the world does that come from? You're getting as bad as Gary.
You know what it is? I'll be 100%
Lack of
honest.
sleep.
It's the Conan O'Brien version of the old-timey. That's what he does for the old-time stuff. He does that whole, and he puts "see" at the end of everything, and it's so
In
funny.
the year 2000.
Yeah.
Well, happy New Year, guys.
Yeah.
Right? Like this will be February, but we haven't gotten
No.
to talk.
No, exactly.
So,
I see we all made it. I actually
got
kept
some,
my New Year's resolution as I always do, which is to not have a New Year's resolution and break it.
nice.
Never fails.
Nice.
Well, this is good because I've got we don't have to get into it now, but I've got a list of New Year's resolutions because probably most people have already failed theirs and you're looking for another one.
Looking for
Is that
There we
that?
go.
You just start them whenever you want, you know? So it's calendar
that.
year from
It's never
February to
You just flip
February.
your calendar up to like December 31st and you just have like this big list on the 31st of all the things you're going to try this year.
Yeah. My New Year's resolutions follows the government fiscal year. They start in March and they go to the next year.
March to
Oh, no.
March. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Spend her all in the last 2 weeks of March.
Just a mad spending spree.
Yep. Which means
Yeah.
it gets really busy at work for me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like a bunch of capital projects, right?
Ooh.
And then they get to the end of the year and there's all these projects. They're like, we got to get this. You got to bill us because we got to get that on this budget or else.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
I can definitely not confirm that I experienced the same thing in education.
You can bill them,
definitely
but they're
doesn't
not going to
happen.
pay you as quickly as you want.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a little
fair
bit.
amount of time.
It has. It has.
See, we got
Yeah.
a little bit of
I
actual
went
snow.
to Toronto over the break
I
there.
forgot. How did that go? I haven't talked to you since you
What?
went. Yeah.
This has been a while.
That it's been a while.
Toronto. I mean, I can't quite put my finger on it, but like I'm not sure if I can tell whether or not you're a Leafs guy or like,
Well, I dabble.
Yeah, I often wondered if he was a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, but I don't know. I just can't put my finger on it.
I definitely didn't need security escorting me out of the Real Sports Store at Scotiabank Arena. That's for sure.
it looks like you're still in it.
No, they didn't have this.
That's what I was thinking. Tyson starts doing a tour of his place. You guys want to see a real place of merchandise? Come to my place.
I'll sell it to you too, he says.
Jokes aside, but it couldn't have worked out better. So both Mikhail and Maddox had never been to a game, and they're both diehard fans, but they get it pretty honest, right? Get them used to losing at a young age. They'll never be disappointed if you raise them a Leafs fan. But Maddox's favorite player is Michael Bunting, who plays for Carolina now. And as luck would have it, the weekend we could go, guess who's in town? Carolina. Michael Bunting, his first game back in Toronto, and they did the little tribute video when it would have been to commercial break. And of course, Bunting got the first goal, made the Leafs lose. I've never been to a game where they won. Every time I go, like if they go far into the playoffs, Gary, I always said I'd find a way to go. I better not.
Because now it's been recorded, and if it happens, people will hunt you down.
Oh gosh, like you know what I mean? Like there's nothing to that, but oh my gosh, anyway. But anyway, yeah, Cam, like we got in as early as they'd let you to go in. Maddox had his old Leafs Michael Bunting jersey on, even though he plays for Carolina, and we ran right down to the glass where Carolina's about to come out and warm up instead of the Leafs. And Michael Bunting, as luck would have it, Maddox had a sign ready with Bunting on it, and Bunting skated over, did his stretches there, turned around, kind of waved at Maddox, threw him a puck over the glass. And I got a picture of like the second it happened, Maddox turned around, and it's kind of like, like looking at him.
That's pretty cool.
Did this happen? Yeah, like, oh yeah, like he won the lottery. Yeah, that his favorite player came over and threw him a puck.
So I always wondered, like when you're at those games, can you see the players sort of like noticing signs, or do they sort of try to act like they're not looking, or like? And yes and no. Listen,
80% of them act like they're not looking.
Yeah,
which when they're warming up, as a dad now, it was almost ticking me off because it's like here's this kid, it's his dream. He just drove 15 hours to come see you. You know what I mean? And I'm watching you do laps. And there's no way you don't see the giant Bristol board pressed against the glass saying, Michael Bunting, number 58. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no way you don't. And then sure enough, he could have stretched anywhere, but he stopped right in front of Maddox. Probably only spent 60 seconds there, but it felt like it was 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And then did his warm up with the puck and then turned around and faced the glass. And Maddox was there with the sign. Maddox was hoping for a selfie because he never dreamt he'd get a puck. Like if he could get a selfie with.
Yeah.
And sure. Bunting kind of did the point with the stick. Yeah. Because there's a bunch of kids there. Like this puck's for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then threw it over to Mad. And he only gave out 2. He gave one to a kid on the other side too.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's cool.
So he got pretty lucky. And then Amanda and Mikhail, because it was a mob scene down at the glass. Like Gary, the staff there. She knows the season ticket holders, they're late and they've got the front row seats. Yeah. So she's letting the kids line up on the glass, and she keeps saying to people, well, if you could just wait a second, I got room for 2 more kids in here. We're trying to let the kids get against the glass. Like she literally was telling adults, I know it's your seat, but the game didn't start. You can hold on. Let the kids. She was so good about it.
That's great.
No, the staff really goes above and beyond, but because it was crazy. So Amanda and Mikhail went over to the Leaf section, and Mikhail went down for a second, but then they sat down, and our seats were they're 10 rows behind the bench. So it's not like with people not there, you could see everything. So then I came back over with Maddox, and Amanda missed it. Right. So I said, she's like, so how did that go? You're back here already? I said, well, Michael Bunting just tossed him a puck. And Amanda's like, no, he didn't. I said, yeah, Bunting just tossed. No, he didn't. And I had to haul out my phone and prove it. Yeah, he did. And then I was too dumb, Cameron, it's happening so quick. So I was trying to get a video. And then he asked for a selfie. So I thought, well, I better have my camera ready. And then when Bunting turned around and kind of pointed and give him a puck, instead of just swiping the video, I'm like, click, 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 click. It took like,
slow motion.
like why did I just take 40 pictures instead of clicking record?
You gotta take that time to
On the
swipe to
video.
get to the video button, right? Like it's not a
Yeah.
you did the thing.
You know,
It's like
you explaining that, I just had a flash of like me being at a game and being down, bang on the glass. And then Jordan Rudess comes up and I'm like, yeah. Makes no sense at all. But like, you know, it's just like
But it's
you
funny
showing the
'cause
picture and be like, he did. And it's like, no, he didn't.
Other players, like Stahl came over and was kind of like pointing to a couple kids, and he threw a puck over or whatever. And I'm being hypersensitive to like, all right, Mad, like, and you got a Leafs jersey on. There's kids here with Carolina
you
jerseys
gotta
on.
give them, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like maybe we should go sit down, and other people are getting there now, and I'm kind of like trying to be hypersensitive. Like, well, now this dad is sitting next to me, and I'm 3 rows back, and I could be in someone's seats myself, and they're not doing anything wrong. They want to go sit down, and the next thing you know, like just as I'm ready to bail, because like I'm starting to feel like I'm in the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bunting skates right over, and I'm like, okay, he's got his back to him, and he's stretching, but like, why did he park himself there? Like, is it going to happen?
Yeah.
Is it going to happen? Yeah.
That's so cool.
So then second period, the guy whose seats we had texts me and basically says something like, too bad about the score. I'm working on something. Could you get downstairs?
Get downstairs.
So Gary, decently recently, you've been to Toronto. You know how big Scotiabank is. I'm like, where the heck is downstairs? What do you mean, get downstairs? So then he messages me again and says, you got to get them downstairs. You can't be late. You're going to go down. There's like a VIP bar, like the Platinum Room. And so I walked, but Jeremy, just wait, because like I walked downstairs. So, and he gave me instructions. You're going to go out. You're going to hang a left. You're going to go down those stairs. You're going to take a right. You're going to walk up the hall. It's the only hall. There's going to be a lady with a clipboard. You're going to go give them my name. And I'm like, yeah, sure. No, with 30 seconds, I followed all that. All right. And out we went.
Who was this guy?
He was the season ticket holders of the.
Oh, the guy
Yeah.
that sold the tickets.
So away we went, and went all the way downstairs. And me and Amanda couldn't get in, but the boys could. He had reserved 2 spots on the sheet. And next thing you know, the 2 women that were there working ushered the kids away. Up the hall they went. The boys are right outside the Leafs dressing room. I'm looking up the hallway. There's my kids. There's Mitch Marner warming up. There's Martin Jones ready to go.
Crazy.
And like Maddox came out
Crazy.
like shaking his hand. He's like my knuckles hurt. I said, why do your knuckles hurt? He said, like Matthew Nyes, like fist bumped me hard. And I'm like, buddy, Matthew Nyes fist bumped you hard. Like, that's pretty cool. Right. So then the lady took a video for us, and like Austin Matthews fist bumped Maddox, and I think it was Bertuzzi got, you know what I mean, and Samsonov fist bumped McHale on the way by, and Maddox got lucky. He got like 3/4 of the team fist bumped him on the way by, and poor McHale was the big brother that let his little brother in and like was like trying to reach his fist out. He only got 2 of them, but yeah, it all happened so quick. But
Crazy.
yeah, quite the experience
Good
for them.
that.
So
Holy crap. Do you remember that?
Mikhail, use that as a favor. Next
Yeah,
time,
right.
anytime you need Maddox to do anything. You remember who stood in front of you when all the Leafs are going by? Yeah, you can go
Yeah.
do that for me.
but we got very lucky, because that'll never happen. Like we got lucky and then lucky again, right? Like what are the chances his favorite player threw him a puck, and then like I wouldn't even know who to call to get into the tunnel.
Well, no.
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like what do you,
like you said,
like
it's
just a fluke thing.
Wouldn't even know that's an option.
exactly.
I assume
It's one of
that's
those unknowns.
And it's not one they advertise.
it's a
No.
particular tier of season ticket holders that probably knows about
So
that,
Jeremy,
right?
what you would like, so your Jordan Rudess moment. That's why, like I said, I'll tell you something. I said,
Yeah.
there's security and no one can get through guarding the tunnel. Because of course, like Joe Blow can't walk up the hall to the Leafs locker room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And these 2 real well-dressed guys walk up the thing, and they said, we need to get to the, and security's like, no, like it's, you know, and I could hear the guys like, well, you know what I mean? Like he's pointing, he's like, well, with all due respect, I'm going to have to see ID. And he hasn't, one of the 2 of them, I don't know, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know who one was. But the other one, I'm looking at Amanda and I'm like, that's Abruzzese. That's Abruzzese. Security won't let Abruzzese in the... like, dude, he plays here. Like he,
Part of the team.
and no sooner did he walk through than Kyle Bukauskas came out and walked right past us.
Oh, nice.
Craig Simpson walked right past me, and no sooner did the guy in front of me go, "That was Craig. That was Craig." I'm like, "That was Craig Simpson." Craig Simpson just said, "Excuse me" to me because he needed by. Yeah, like that room was
Wow,
like
that's
buzzing.
cool.
Oh,
Like, there was people.
Yeah.
Like that was the room. Yeah, but it was pretty cool. So,
Did Kyle Bukauskas look as cool in person as he does like on TV?
buddy, if it's possible,
He's
dare I
just
say,
like,
a
yeah.
little cooler.
He's like, I
just
kinda
like
was
such a-
in love.
He's got that like
His-
Ryan Seacrest kind of thing about him.
Man,
you know
the
what I mean?
suits and the hair are always on point with that man.
Gary?
It is,
I agree.
and dare I say, Gary, he doesn't need to because he's only ever shot from the waist up, and that's if he gets a locker room interview. Am I right? But the shoe game is on point too. He does not skip.
Yeah,
He does not skip. Yeah.
it's like when.
Mark Masters.
Oh yeah, that's,
So Babcock called out Mark Masters for wearing old
The
scruffy
scruffy
shoes at his
shoes.
scrum once.
I forgot about that.
yeah.
So it wasn't like at the World Juniors then where all these kids are gathered around the glass with the candy bars on the Bristol
No.
board being
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'll trade you a bar for
There
a
was
buck.
less of that. Maddox
Just
had
let
a
the
sign
players-
ready because he didn't know if he'd have the opportunity to try to trade Skittles. And he had the Skittles in his
I can
pocket,
see
and
that.
he was totally going to go. Yeah, but he was just kind of like any leaf, I'd take it. He just kind of thought like if I had time and we got in there
Oh,
early
yeah,
enough,
for sure.
he made a choice. I'm going for bunting. I'm hoping for bunting. But if I have to and go to the Leafs, he didn't even put a particular player. It was like my first Leafs game. I drove, hoping somebody'd give him
Like,
something.
really,
but
what? How many people get to actually meet the player that they've always wanted
Oh,
to,
man, no.
to see? Like, it's got to be
yeah.
way more rare than you think.
and have
Yeah,
a good
it's like,
experience.
And have a good experience.
Right,
They say
like,
don't meet your heroes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and in this case, he skated right over, tossed him a puck. You know what I mean? Like we got a cool picture of him throwing them the puck.
I don't
And,
know.
yeah.
We got to meet Ray Bourque, and I was pretty cool until Jeremy kind of did his thing. And
Yeah. Oh yeah, we totally would have hung out with him the rest of the night if I hadn't have said what I said.
Yeah. He was going to leave and come with us.
Yeah, so he's like, he's like,
for sure.
Bourque? Really? No, I don't trust any Bourques.
My name's Bourque. I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
Well, that's like, can you imagine?
pretty
Like,
smooth.
he saw bunting. That'd be like if Tyson got to meet Coulthard. Like, Tyson wouldn't even know what to do with himself. He would literally openly weep. I could see it.
It's a short list, man. It's a short list. Sebastian Vettel, Dave Coulthard, Chris
Yes.
Jericho, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
I knew
LL
that.
Cool J. Am I right,
knew that was coming. I knew it was coming.
Heck yeah.
So that night they did lip sync battle. You were just like, stop all
Do you
the
meet him?
thumbs.
Do you haul
Stop
up
all
one
the
pant
thumbs.
leg?
Didn't know what to do with myself, Cameron. Both of them on the same
So
screen.
if you're talking top 5, wow. Wow. I'd have to go Bret Hart. I would go Mario Andretti. Yeah, there you go.
Solid choice, buddy.
Formula
Solid
One,
choice.
I would have to. Well, Mario could be either or. Formula One, I'd like to meet Verstappen. He seems all right.
Yeah.
Both of them, Jos and him, father and son. I'd like to meet both of them. They seem pretty cool.
You want to get berated by his dad?
Yeah, find out who's Craig.
Do you remember when you drove a Tyrrell? Shut your face. And the last one, I don't really know if there's someone. Okay, I'd have to say Villeneuve. We all know I'd want to meet Villeneuve. I'll just wait, till he's in a bar
I was
playing
waiting.
some night, and I'll go see him.
I was waiting for the.
Go to one of his shows.
And you would be Mick Foley if you hadn't actually already met Mick Foley.
If I hadn't have already met Mick, yes,
Yeah. So
that was one of the cool ones. The ones I've actually met in person, Mick was up there, and And Aldous was probably the second coolest one I ever met because he had the NWA belt. So
I getcha. Because they say, like Jeremy said, we kind of don't meet your heroes.
Mick
but
was hilarious.
I got to have that conversation with Bret Hart, and he was unreal.
Yeah.
Like he went out of his way to have like a good conversation. Like
maybe it's don't be employed by your heroes. Because I think of like Matt Duchene, big Avalanche fan growing up, and like his favorite player, one of his favorite players is his coach. And I'm just saying all this because now Patrick Waugh is back coaching again, and a bunch of stuff came up about like the clip went around of it was like I think it was the first season he was there. No, sorry, it was the second season. It was the 16-17 when they had like 48 points and one of the worst records ever.
Yeah.
And Duchene gets to 30 goals for the first time in his career, and he does this big celebration because he hits 30, but like they're out of the playoff race and whatever. And after the game, it's just Patrick Waugh just ripping them for celebrating and saying how embarrassing it was. It's like maybe just don't work for your heroes.
Yeah.
But see, he's old school, right?
Known to be old.
He's old school. He's like, this is a team sport, and you're celebrating a personal.
Yeah, his thing is like there's team winning.
What are you doing?
And that's it. Yeah. Like anyways, but
so Jeremy'd like to meet Jordan Rudess. We've been over this one before.
He'd so want to meet Sakic. He would. You'd want to see Sakic.
Oh yeah, he was number one.
That's fair.
Oh, and Lando Norris or anybody affiliated with McLaren.
Well, if you're gonna put like if you're gonna pick one person, I know you're doing multiple. I'd want to meet Raikkonen first, and I'd want him to berate me in some way and make fun of me. And Mika Hakkinen, absolutely. Those are he was kind of right on the way out when you guys kind of got me into it. And
if you want to win, employ a Finn.
Yeah. But it's mostly hockey people, I would say.
Well, it would be. When you were younger, that's all you would watch. You didn't watch racing until you got older, till we kind of forced it upon you, more or less.
Can I just... I am abnormally anxious to hear Gary's list. And Gary left.
Gary just got up. He's done. You don't need to know who my heroes are.
If you're listening in the car, Gary just got up and walked away.
Just because...
Just done.
He has his Bush League.
Because his screen.
Oh, and he's back. All right, Gareth.
Yeah, so anyway, Jeremy, those resolutions were hilarious. Man, the best segment in the history of the podcast.
Man, so good. We're so glad
everybody's been waiting to hear my top
My
five.
face hurts. My face hurts.
You are correct, Mr. Godfrey. I'd like to hear this list. This is going to be interesting.
I would be all sweaty from laughter, but I'm wearing the Manscaped Ball Preserver deodorant.
Use promo code Bush League.
20% off your order. Wow, that was... Whew. Oh, Gary, hey, what are you doing here?
Number 1, Alton Brown.
I love it. I love it.
I feel like you've talked about him before on this podcast.
Every day.
Every day.
I wake up in the morning, I turn on Cutthroat Kitchen.
As one does. As one does.
All right, Gareth.
Number 2, Peter Mansbridge.
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Number 3, Mitsu.
What is going on?
I knew you'd have the best list by a mile.
Boy, Monkau.
Number 4, Bernie Ecclestone.
And there it is.
Wasn't he your Facebook profile picture for a couple of years?
Wasn't he like
yes, that's right.
It was like his whole face like this.
It was like he was like on his deathbed or something.
For the last 20 years.
Like skin was just
Oh my gosh.
hanging off of him and the wind blowing his hair everywhere.
Bernie Ecclestone. Wow.
We should have made bets on his top five.
We wouldn't have won.
We should have. Yeah.
Missed opportunity.
Yep.
I don't really have a number 5. We'll go with
Doug Gilmore.
Oh, Ralph Schumacher.
Oh, Ralph. Yeah.
that's a good one.
He's a Ralph fan.
I feel like you were a Ralph Schumacher
He was.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other Schumacher.
I was going to go with the president of Iceland, but maybe we'll go with Ralph Schumacher.
Is the president of Iceland still that comedian?
I do not
Do you know
know.
what I mean?
Wait.
I don't know.
I know the president of Ukraine is. Or
No,
whatever.
there was a comedian. No, I'm lying to you. It was he was mayor of their capital. He ran on a lark because everybody was so mad at the politicians. And he even didn't take his campaign seriously. Like everything was a joke. Like when he did the parade to try to get elected, he did it in drag on purpose. Like he did
He
everything
could to make fun of
and
it.
because people were so mad at politicians, everybody actually voted for him.
Couldn't
And
you
he
see
got
him
it.
sitting at home going, oh, that was fun. Oh, by the way, you won. What?
Oh, he started a new political party called the Best Party.
Best party.
Oh yeah, no, there's a whole
great.
thing on. Yeah, but it was mayor. It wasn't
That's-
president. Yeah, that's right.
Is he still mayor now or no?
I don't know. That's what I was wondering. That's when he said president of Iceland. It's like, is that comedian that ran
Oh,
as
now
a joke and got it? Yeah.
Now I'm realizing one of us should have said the Iron Sheik.
Oh, yes.
man. That's all of our top 5. Yeah.
I was thinking it earlier. I thought Jeremy was going to
humble
say it. If he,
I will break your back.
I humble you. You jabroni.
Make you humble.
You know, that's where The Rock got jabroni from. Was from the Sheik.
Oh,
is that true?
Really?
He always
Oh, I
called
didn't know
people jabronis. Yeah. So, and The Rock grew up because remember the Iron Sheik wrestled for The Rock's grandmother in Hawaii,
Yes.
and he would always call people jabronis. So it was actually the Iron Sheik that came up with jabronis.
Didn't know that.
So jabroni
That's
if you
great.
did something stupid,
Yes.
and Bubba if he liked you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You the real Bubba.
And when he would tweet about celebrities, he would say the.
Yes.
So he wouldn't say Taylor Swift. He'd be like, the Taylor Swift.
Never seen more capitalization in any other lit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, not
I
not
put the
one
Taylor
lowercase
Swift
letter.
in the camel clutch.
He used to tap his boot to get the loaded boot all ready to go.
Oh, man.
Yikes.
There's a couple of good. There's one on YouTube. He rants about Brian
Oh,
Blair.
he hates Brian Blair. Holy smokes.
It is not for the faint of heart.
No. There's a lot of
It
that.
is pretty extreme.
No interview is for sure. Holy dang.
No, definitely not for your family viewing. No.
Funny.
Yeah.
No. All right, folks. So it's time for us to take a quick break to thank our sponsor for this episode, Manscaped.
You know, Manscaped has been supporting us, and we're pretty excited about it. And they'll support you too.
That's right. See, our listeners get an exclusive 20% off their Manscaped purchase when they use the promo code BushLeague.
So whether you're a longtime Manscaped user or thinking about diving into the world of below-the-waist grooming for the first time, now's the perfect time to snag some grooming goodies.
And I'll tell you one thing, see? And I'll tell you another thing, too. I'll tell you the new Lawnmower 5.0 trimmer is a game changer. Precision coverage and no awkward grooming experiences.
Did you say awkward grooming experiences?
You see, you folks, you don't even want to know, see?
And don't forget about the crop-preserving ball deodorant. Trust me, your sensitive area will thank you.
So head on over to manscaped.com, browse their selection, and make sure you use the promo code BushLeague at checkout for an exclusive 20% off offer.
Boys, this is not just about grooming. It's an upgrade to your lifestyle. Manscaped. Because your family jewels deserve the best. Right, fellas?
Absolutely. Now back to the show.
So I wanted to bring it. So this is actually Cameron's thing, but I just thought this was fantastic. Hey, Cameron, you sent this to me earlier today.
Hey, that's not for you to share. Whatever he sent you, that's between you and him. You don't get to just... That's not right.
Shy.
I didn't tell him, but I'm just going to post it. He sent it just to me. It was just for me to see, but I'm going to share it for
But
everyone.
I could tell he didn't just take that.
You're correct, Tyson, because I used the new lawnmower 5.0.
Yeah. He's like, hey,
The
Jared.
test footage.
Yeah. He's like, am I using this right? And he just held his phone down there, and I just kind of we went on. He did like a Zoom call, and I was like, yeah, no, I think it's
right,
going
ran the
pretty
hairpin turn.
Yeah.
Feeling straight away.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so Cameron shares this ad with me. Where did you find this thing? And tell people what it is, because it's just great.
So I'm on Facebook, and I'm in you can buy stuff from Formula One memorabilia and stuff, because I'm a junkie. And anyway, there's this website, and I was kind of going through like all the Facebook things that pop up, and it was for sale. I was like, no, they do shirts, they do side pods. Nope. How about a Formula One V10 Ford Cosworth engine for sale?
That's so
a Jaguar
crazy.
model used by Minardi F1, 17,000 pounds, and it'll come with everything you need. All the ECU box. It's actually in England right now for sale, and it says it's a bargain.
Boys.
That's unbelievable.
What?
How much is shipping?
I mean, by weight. Oh, sorry. Complete weight.
Well,
complete weight is 100 kilograms.
Could we do this?
I don't know.
100 kilograms.
It's 800. Yeah, it says complete weight 100 kilograms, and it's conditioned brand new, 800 horsepower. You know what? I knew my snowblower needed a little tune-up, but I think it's time for an engine swap.
Can you imagine?
What could you put that in? You know what I mean? I remember one of Dad's friends he went to high school with crammed a 454 into a Datsun.
Holy smokes!
And they said when that thing went up the road, it was like the hand of God himself came down and pushed that car.
But like there's so much stuff on YouTube now of people doing like all these. I don't know if I've ever seen someone get their hands on a Formula One engine and put it in something.
Heck no.
Maybe you guys.
The closest I've ever seen is there used to be an IndyCar driver who took an Indy Buick V6, which is what Buick was allowed to run from the 80s into the 90s, and he put it into a Cobra bodied car. So he had an IndyCar engine in like the small short wheelbase car.
Wow. But like, I just don't even. You couldn't because this is the V10. So that like, isn't this like don't these things rev at like 16,000,
17, 18, sometimes 19,000 RPM.
RPM.
Shake the bolts off the car.
What transmission could you ever attach that to?
Hollinger. You'd have to get a British Hollinger, an Australian Hollinger transmission, because they build the best transmissions in the world, racing.
Of course, Cameron knew the answer to that.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive.
As he does.
That's pretty impressive.
What the heck?
And how much is that transmission going to put us back, Cameron?
Well, that engine's 17,000 pounds, which is double Canadian. So
we can do this. We can do this. We're sponsored by Manscaped.
Hey, Manscaped, you want to really liven up your engines? Get us a V10.
Well,
the Turbo 5.0.
She's got 10 cylinders. It did 18 guys in 30 seconds.
We're going to put this thing in a Toyota Yaris.
Yeah. So many jokes. Do you want to feel like you've come in last place on the grid? To use this Minardi F1 power
Cosworth V10.
Like what kind of scenario? Cameron's like, it did 18 guys in 30 seconds.
I think that one went by Jay at the moment, but now you got him back. Here you go.
I didn't hear
I
that.
didn't. But like, it's crazy. Like, who sells that? It's like, hey, Facebook Marketplace, want a Formula One car? It's like, sure.
Absolute bargain for some project or F1 building.
Yeah, see, a project or an F1 building. It's like, do they have so much surplus over there they can just build a Formula One car? Like,
yeah. I was joking with Cameron. Cameron said he'd put it in his snowblower. I mean, you could do that. Be like, make the like direct drive, right? So it'd be like 18,000 RPM. You'd fire your snow into the North Atlantic.
Yeah, he said the North Atlantic. I said it'd have enough RPM. I could throw it back to Britain. They think it was a blizzard.
Yeah.
Give it back to them.
Most people like walk along barely behind their snowblower. Cameron's in a brisk jog. Yards done.
Yeah. Cameron's neighbors is 6 o'clock in the morning. Oh, it's Cameron doing his
The best
lawn.
part is,
Oh,
because
boys.
my driveway is
Do
like
you
a horseshoe,
wanna-
I can just do laps.
Do you want to hear one of the best snowblowing stories I've ever heard in my entire life? But these people have to remain nameless because I would get myself in trouble because I'm not even supposed to know.
Oh, boy.
So, guy I know, let's say, has a very cranky neighbor. She's known to be cranky. Is that fair? So he goes out, he snow blows his driveway, he goes in, puts on a cup of coffee, sits down to watch TV, looks out the window, and hears all the snow from her driveway coming up over the fence into his driveway that he just did.
Oh, that's not good.
So he waits till she's done, doesn't say anything. Like she's in the wrong. We all agreed.
Mm.
He goes out, starts up the lawnmower, and blows her all right back into her driveway.
Everyone does.
He goes in and waits, right? They're out there with the snowblower again, blowing it all right back into her yard. He goes out and says something to her, right? And she, whatever, pretty colorful, says something
Karen.
back. And
She
keeps
becomes
on.
a Karen.
Oh, yeah. She did. And she went on her merry way, still snow blowing. He bent over, grabbed some snow, packed it up real nice, threw it over the fence. She turned around, smuck right square in the face.
So they got into a snowball fight?
No. One snowball. He walks in the house. 10 minutes later, there's the police in his yard. And like, what are you going to say? Like, did you throw a snowball at? Yes.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Did you have a permit for that snow?
Wham.
So,
Right in the...
not a snowblowing story, but my dad used to plow snow for a
Wow.
living. And as anybody who does not like the plow operator, is always angry when he feels in your driveway, obviously.
As if they can help it.
Yeah,
but
like they can't help it. Exactly.
I
So
know.
now where the garage is up home is it's on the top of the hill and heads toward into Red Bank, which is down the hill and across the bridge. Katie's grandfather, grandfather Easty lives just below the government garage. So Dad wasn't paying attention. Katie's grandfather's out there shoveling. Dad wasn't paying attention. And as he's driving by, Dad realizes Katie's grandfather's in the driveway. Fills him up to his knees. Dad stops. He looks back in the mirror. He said, and all I could see was the hands coming down and the shovel just lowering. He said, I was like, I better go back there because I think that shovel's coming this way. Dad just backs up and just drops the wing and pushes it all back. And your grandfather just nods and he just walks in the house. Dad said, if ever I thought, he said, you'll always hear people say, oh, you filled in my driveway. He said, I was never scared of anybody. He said, but that day I thought for sure, he said, he was going to wait for me when I came up that hill next time. And I was like, yeah, I better not. Like, his grandfather, he's just hilarious. So he's like, I said, did you really fill it up? Dad goes right to his knees. Yep. He said, he just sat there. He said, when you're so angry, you can't move. You're just vibrating. He said, I kind of figured that's where he was.
I sometimes get people being upset, but like, how upset can you be? Because if he lifted on the way by, well, now congrats, your driveway's still not done, and now you can't see when you're leaving your driveway.
Yeah.
Like they got to push it back.
Well, the cops called.
You wouldn't be able to.
Someone called the cops and Dad one time and told them he's hitting my mailbox intentionally. And Dad said, "Okay." So Dad's driving along and he looks back and there's a cop car behind him. He goes, whatever. Dad's driving along, just not paying attention, and all of a sudden the lights go off. Dad goes,
"Well, he'd never dream it was for him."
Exactly. Anyway, he sees the lights.
He's in the Plow.
He sees the lights and goes, I wonder what's going on there. Pulls over, steps out, looks at the one, and the girl comes up to him and she says, we've had some complaints. You've been knocking mailboxes over. Dad said, "Oh, what? What do you mean?" She goes, "Well, we've had some complaints." He goes, "What, the last 4 or 5 or just, in general?" And she just looked and she goes, "You knew you knocked them over?" He goes, "I'm not knocking them over. I'm not hitting them with the wing. The snow is knocking them over." She goes, "Well, we've had a lot of complaints." And Dad says, "Okay." He said, "What do you want me to do?" And she's like, "Well, the person was very adamant. You intentionally hit their mailbox." And Dad said, "If I hit their mailbox, they won't have a mailbox."
Yeah.
It's not going to be like this. It's going to go.
Who wants to hit it? They'll know.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, Dad just goes,
Smash.
They coming through the front window.
Yeah. She goes, "So what are you going to do?" And Dad goes, "I'm going to get back in my truck. I'm going to keep driving." He said, "And you can follow me if you want." Of course, he was leaving Sunny Corner.
Yeah,
he was halfway up to Heath Steel Mines. I said, "How long did she stay behind you?" "Oh, about 2 or 3 miles." After about 4 or 5 more mailboxes went along their way, he said, "She stopped following me and just turned around."
Yeah. He means like he pushes it and as the snow is like going over.
The snow hitting it, it just knocks it over.
What's he supposed to, what do you,
Well, and if it was a bad snowfall.
Like heavy snow, like wet, heavy snow, it's like, you know what it's like, just someone hitting you with a scoop full of like a shovel load of wet snow and knock you over.
It's been a while, but I remember the year because it was 2019. Because a buddy of ours, like me and Jay was trying to get his daughter in the country and she wasn't here yet. That's how I know what year it was. But I had sent her a picture, and after the plow had gone by, the snowbank was a full foot above my head, and I'm 6'5". So I had sent her a picture, like, careful what you wish for. Like, if you want to come here. Like, if someone had a mailbox, if he didn't wreck it, you can't find it. It's gone. It's in there somewhere.
It's in the snowbank.
Like,
you just cut it out of the snowbank and just leave it.
But every once in a while, we just get dumped on, and you get 2 feet in 24 hours. Like, what are the plow trucks going to do?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Like, I think I told this before. This podcast has been going on long enough that all these stories have been told at some previous point. But it was 2013-14, that insane winter, like the extra bad one. It was.
They seem to come every 5 or 6 years, eh?
Yeah, it seems it was really dumped on. So I was in my second year of college, and it was like it was pretty intense. Like trying to do my final exams, and they're super hard, and like it's like everyone's struggling with it. So you're up late all the time, and these snowstorms keep happening. So I'm living with my wife and sister-in-law at the time, and so like like anytime there's a storm, and we're renting a duplex, and the one that owns it lives on the other side. And part of the deal is you can borrow her snowblower to do your driveway. So I was like,
that's a good deal.
Yeah, except the snowblower was ancient. It barely worked, and so it was just like we were into February at this point, and it'd been like it felt like I think it was like the 7th or 8th 40 centimeter storm, and I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. Like I can't go out and deal with this. I got an exam tomorrow. I can't spend 2 hours trying to clean because what happened was that winter, the snow where you blow it had gotten so high that the chute on the snowblower, I couldn't get it up high enough to get over the top. So now I'm like basically on the opposite side of the driveway trying to get it up enough so it'll go to the far like the other side to get over, but like half of it falls in the driveway. So you're just like pushing it to the opposite side.
I know exactly, because I've had to, like when I lived on Century Drive, I blew half the driveway back into the other side of my driveway on purpose so I could blow it again so that I could clear the hill.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I needed some distance to clear it. If I was up next to it, it's falling right back. Yeah.
Right. So this was a fairly densely like packed, so like the houses were quite close together. So you just don't have a ton of like I'm running into the problem you were talking about earlier, right? It's like if I point the chute anywhere but like that sliver in between the house, it's gonna start rolling off into the neighbor's driveway. And it's like I was just so frustrated. And so it was like towards the end of the winter. I had just finished this thing. All right, I'm okay. All right, I can go back inside. And then I hear in the distance the
plow.
And it's like, oh no. And I'm like, I'm listening to the engine. I'm like, I think he turned down our street. I think he's coming down.
You hear the blade scraping.
Yeah. And like, so what everyone said so far, I'm like, that is a thankless job. All you do is get people who complain. When you don't show up, it's like, well, where's the plows? And then they show up and you complain that they filled your driveway. It's a thankless job. I don't envy those guys. You ever notice when you look inside, they never make eye contact? Like those guys are just like
laser focused.
they're not looking. They're not getting anyone's attention. They're not reacting to any of these.
No, they're not.
Right. So, so I get all that, and I'm like, I mean, the guy's just doing his job. But I was so mad that I walked out to the end of the driveway and I put the shovel down and I stood probably like 2 feet in front of the driveway, like half on the road. This was just like a brain short circuit. Like I'm going to explode. Like I'm going to go insane.
This is a Chevy Chase.
Yeah, 100%.
National Lampoon. Like he's just snapped. He's just fixed the dual post. He's gone.
Pass.
Like this guy would have been driving and all of a sudden he hears clang, clang, clang. And he turns around. What's that? And he looks in the back and I'm chasing him down the road, beating the tractor with a shovel. Like that kind of lose your mind. And I just stood there and I put the shovel down and I just like glared at the cab as he's going by. And I'm like, you were either you're gonna slice me in half and go to jail for manslaughter, or you're going to go around the other side. I don't care if that snow stays in the middle of the street. You're not filling in this driveway. And so I stood there like with my shovel, like Gandalf, right? Like, you shall not. And he was the Balrog. And so he just goes way out and around. Like the guy would have got in trouble because he just left this big pile of snow on the street. But I was like, I can drive through that. That's soft stuff. I can get out on this. And I felt super bad after. I'm like, oh, so stupid. Like I should have. But I was just in that. I'd been no sleep and I was cleaning the stupid driveway and I've been pushing it 4 times as long. And like,
because even though I've rationally known they can't help it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
There was one morning in particular. Cameron would have still lived here, but you guys didn't. Anyway, but we got dumped on. And Cameron might remember the famous day, but they didn't cancel school. And everybody online was like, what are you talking about? Like businesses were closed. Like Cameron wouldn't have had to go to work. It would have been like, guys, it's too bad. And they screwed the pooch and they didn't cancel school. And so like sometimes they don't cancel till like 6:30 in the morning. Like, I don't know why they're waiting 6:30. Right. And so at 6 o'clock, they hadn't canceled. And at 6:15, they hadn't canceled. When it hit 6:30, they hadn't canceled. It kind of became like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to have to go to work. Is this for real? Like, look at the driveway.
And then the snow was probably up to your waist.
So like I didn't have a snowblower. So if the guy doesn't come get me out, I just paid him $20 a storm or whatever. Like, thank you. He just came with his truck, pushed it back, let me out, pushed the rest back. Thank you. So I shoveled and I shoveled and I shoveled and I shoveled. And I literally, like, I'm dying. And I got it done. The driveway is not done, but I can get the car out.
Just enough to get out.
I can get the car out. And like, I'm talking 2 feet, like you can't see the wheels of the car.
Yeah.
Right. Like we got dumped on and I shoveled and my back's broke. It's one of those.
It's one of those shovels where like, and the storm, there's so much snow that you're shoveling and you're like, I don't know where to stop. Because I am at the end of my driveway, but now there's a wall of snow on the road. Right?
Yeah. Like what do I do
Where
here?
do I stop?
And then like the type of like deep exhaustion where like I showered and I get out of the shower and I'm still sweating.
Yeah.
Like I just showered. Why is it still right? And so anyway, I'm all done. I walk out to the car. I'm not kidding. The bag is on my shoulder. My jacket's on. There he goes. Just as like it was a scene from a movie. I open the door, walk in the post, and I'm talking. So Jay, to live up to your experience, I now have a 2 foot to 3 foot high embankment at the end of my driveway. And I'm wearing dress shoes and dress pants and have my dress shirt on. And I can't get out of the driveway. I also can't believe there's school. Yeah. So right there, I go back in the house and I call our principal and said, like, listen, like I just got plowed in. I have the guy that does it isn't here yet. Like I have no idea how I'm getting out of here. I will be there, but I don't know if it'll be in 10 minutes or an hour. Right? She said, don't worry about it. And I said, really? She said, well, we're all here trying to get in and no one's even plowed the parking lot and the buses are waiting in line on the road. Is
that the same time that they started school and then like 2 hours later they're like everybody needs to go home because the roads were so bad? That was the same day, wasn't it?
I had my first period. I got there, Cameron, and I even remember who the kid is, but I can't say it right. I walked in and there's one kid sitting in the middle of the room that's like, hi. One kid.
How'd you get here? Snowmobile?
Yeah, like 1 out of 25. Because you know what? Everyone's not crazy. Like, this is insane. Like, what are we doing here?
So we talked about jobs that are not enviable. Like making that call, I understand. However, like many times I really don't understand the logic. It's like you wait, like you said, right? It seems to be like that. It's a terrible storm and you wait and wait and wait. And then you decide to open it. So then it's like, let's send the buses out now at its absolute worst. Then we'll bring everyone home early. So we'll bring them back.
In the worst.
Well, they would have been better off staying.
Also the worst. Yeah, it's like you may as well have stayed. Yeah. You may as well have waited for the
you're there now.
There's no winning.
Yeah, you're
there now. Yeah, it's like...
But I don't understand the decision to be... True story. Yeah, the right people don't listen to this. I won't get in trouble. But my old principal, you'll love this. The guy who makes that call was the next door neighbor, and they're both retired now, of my old principal. And another storm came up after this one happened, and he didn't make the call. And our principal went out, snow blew his driveway before the other guy got up and threw all of it in front of the guy's garage so he couldn't open the door. He canceled school.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yikes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yikes.
That is true.
They did years ago, they did Canadian Air Force did a skit of that. They were guys in Newfoundland and it had snowed and snowed and snowed. And they both, like, they had the snow all over and they have the two shovels. And all of a sudden they're talking like, oh, it's been a pretty bad season. Yeah. He said we had like 68 centimeters of snow. And they're talking, and all of a sudden they see the flashing light and they both go, plow! And the guy swings the door, and he swings the door open. You fill that driveway in, you're going home in a pine box. And he comes running out the
door. So true.
It is. Jeremy's right though. Very thankless job.
And you said it, Tyson. It's like in those moments.
Oh yeah, you just can't.
Your logic, your brain can tell you.
Because you cannot compute. Like I just shoveled for an hour and a half. I'm already late.
But sometimes you swear when they do it.
But you get it.
Sometimes you're watching them, and it's like over on my side, over here, on my side of the river, they'll bring the grader, and they'll slowly do it. And I think that's 1,000 times worse than them just tearing by, because the guy's going like 4 kilometers an hour and you're watching it fill your whole driveway in, and the guy just looks back and he drops the wing down a little more to get a little more, and you're just looking at him, you're like, okay, dude.
It's like getting killed with a pin needle as opposed to someone just taking a machete and slicing your head clean out.
Did you guys see? This is going to sound like I'm making this up. And my principal this year showed me, like just the other day, I thought she was lying to me. Like, stop trying to get me to fall for this. The new rural requirements for plowing your road. Have you seen this?
I'd be scared.
6 inches. 6 inches, they don't plow it.
Yeah.
Follow the tracks of the car in front of you. 6 inches.
Yeah.
And then they have pictures of what's acceptable. So if you had more than 6 inches, but it's below 12 inches, it will be plowed within 24 hours.
Yep.
And the expectations, 48 hours. 1 foot of snow, 48 hours. And then they have pictures of this is the expectation.
Yeah.
One lane. And they show the picture.
Yeah.
Like one lane.
I believe that.
Wow.
Yes.
Wait,
but,
so
yes, but
is this
Cameron, they're
provincial
doing
or
a
is this-
review right now of the new snow day policies.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
But they just released, it's like, should you guys talk to each other?
No, they do not. That's government,
We've
buddy.
got kids coming from 45 minutes away, and you just admitted, oh, yeah, no, we're not going to plow your road for at least 48 hours.
Well, when I lived up the back road, when I lived in Katie's cousin's house, when we first moved home, Dad told me, Dad even said, he said, listen, he said, if it snows, I'm like, yeah. He goes, you're a third-rate road. I was like, oh, what? I said, is there such a thing? He goes, yes. He said, and you're it, and you're the last. I'm like, what do you mean I'm the last? He goes, so in a big storm? I said, yeah. He said, it could be 3 days before we get to you. I'm like, come on, Dad. Like, you're just joking. Dad goes, not joking. So anyway, I come home from work one night from Newcastle, from Chatham. I'm driving along. I'm like, it seems to be getting not too bad. I was like, oh yeah, I got to Sunny Corner. I was like, oh yeah, no big deal. Anyway, I started going up the back road, and I'm like, yeah, that's reasonable. You know, it's covered, but the back road is always covered. You never see asphalt. And I went to turn into
Yeah, they don't salt it, right? Isn't it always sand?
no, it's not even. Well,
I don't think it's ever
No,
salted.
it's never
if they do the same.
if they do the sand, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. And there was no sand. So I got up there and I went to turn to the left, and I looked and went, huh, that seems a lot deeper than I think it is. Right into it, and it went right to the windshield, and I was like, well, got this far, can't stop. It's just, I was plowing. Like, it was just going. I'm like, I can't stop, because if I stop, I'm going to get stuck, and I'm just driving. Just
Yeah,
that's when I had
can't
that.
stop
I think
now.
I had the little. I think I had the little Escort wagon that time. I think it was the Escort. I'm just driving.
Yeah, I
I was like,
remember that.
go.
They
go.
never make it, right? So if they did the main road that everybody uses first,
Yep.
by the time, if it's really snowing, by the time they do 2, 3, 4, 5 side roads,
The main road.
the main road needs to be done again.
Yeah, I know.
Again,
Yeah,
yeah.
So you have to keep repeatedly doing the main.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to talk to Dad about it. He's got some horror stories. Like, like, yeah,
It's a funny thing though, right? Like it's like maybe I don't know with perspective or whatever. But when I was younger, I like at least in our family when there was a storm, it was like woohoo, let's go for a drive.
yep.
It was like I know people who either we family in the Moncton area went to Miramichi, or Miramichi people went to Moncton because it was a storm day.
Yeah.
And in those days, everyone had, I don't know, but like we grew up on all season tires. We never had winter tires. It was always like, well, just spend your money on winter tires. Those all seasons is fine.
Yeah, it's true.
And we drove around. Everything was 2-wheel drive. The only thing that was 4-wheel drive were trucks with locking.
yeah, you had to lock the diff in.
differentials.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what's interesting to me is we're a lot more conscious of safety now when everybody's car is all-wheel drive.
SUVs.
And we all have winter tires. We all have SUVs. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Like how that,
Well,
like,
in my family, it was
you know what I
weird
mean?
because my dad would drive in anything because he's driven in
Yeah.
everything. My mom, as soon as it starts to snow, I'm not getting on the road. I'm not staying on the road. I'm staying home. Where are you going? What are you doing? You can't go on the
yeah,
road.
there's
It was like so
two
weird
extremes.
because Dad would be like, "It's snowing," and it's like, "There's a storm."
yeah, I don't know. It's like,
Okay, so we came through one
Yeah.
night. We drove from Halifax, come home. We hit a huge snowstorm. We come through the Tantramar Marsh, and
Mhm.
apparently
blowing.
it was
The wind there
well,
every
and
time.
and it was
is-
bad. And I was like, kind of looking at it, it's like, well, it's not so bad. It's getting worse, but it's getting worse, getting worse. And finally, we couldn't see anything in front of us, like nothing.
Mm.
And Dad's just driving along, and I'm like, Dad? He goes, yeah. I'm like, where are we? He goes, on the road. I'm like, okay. He goes, I just hope no one's sure. He's like, I hope someone just doesn't stop in front of us. I'm like, how do you know we're on the road? He's like you couldn't see a thing, and it was like gusting and stuff. And I'm like, Dad, seriously, like, what are we doing? He goes, well, we're not stopping. I was like, great. So I'm in the back having like a coronary, and anyway, all of a sudden I could hear like, I was like, what are you doing? He goes, well, that's the edge of the road. I'm like, that's how we're driving? You're using the edge of the road to know where we are? He goes, yep. And he's driving along. And I'm like looking around. I'm like, there's no cars anywhere, but there is a car behind us. And I'm like, what is the guy behind us thinking? And Dad's like, he's just following us and he's hoping I don't go off the road.
Exactly. He's
Anyway,
like, oh,
he
that
drove,
guy
like, it
doesn't
was so
serve.
white. Like you couldn't even see, like if I put my hand outside and put my hand on the windshield, I'd be lucky to see it. Dad's just as cool as a cucumber. Oh yeah. My mom's in the passenger side going, ah. Dad's just like, what's your guys' problem? He said, it's not that bad. I'm like, you can't see.
Wow.
This is the problem I have. He's like, it won't be bad. We were almost through it. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, got all the way through it, got in toward like Sackville and stuff like that. And he was just boom, he was gone again. I'm like, did that not bother you? He goes, no, not really. He said, it'd bother me if I knew, like, he said, I knew I was getting too far over to the side. He said, because he said, I just knew. So he kept going to the right enough to get his wheels over the edge of the pavement so he knew where he was.
Can I just... we're all worried about if this was a typical story, everyone else would be like, yeah, that's crazy. Like, pull over, wait for it to pass. Like, let the plow go by. But your dad is someone who's literally driven on unplowed roads his whole life for a living.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
So nobody has plowed it. He has to guess where the road is because that's him. He's the plow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, Mom went,
Yeah, yes, we're fine.
Mom went with him one time up to Heath Mines, and she said it was the first and only time she ever got in the truck with him. And of course, she wasn't ever supposed to go, but Dad said, "Come on, just come for once." He said, "I've been working for, I don't know, at that point, I think he'd been up 24 or 28 hours or something like that." He's like, "Come on, just come for the drive." Mom goes,
Yeah, we know what was up. You might
Was
want
this
to read
before you were alive?
the story.
No, it was not.
Some Heath steel.
Oh, Gary. Oh, man. Oh. Anyway,
What a great nickname.
You should call him that. Hey, Steel. Dad be like, what? Don't even.
Why is that not a band name?
That'd be the
Heath
best
Steel.
band name ever.
Wow.
Better than the other mine up there. The other mine was just called Brunswick Mine.
Heath Steel. Wow, that's an epic.
That's an incredible name.
That's way better than Thumper. Let me tell you what.
Tell you what.
Oh boy.
Oh dear. That's terrible.
All right, boys. Well, I had some. I don't know.
I don't
You
know,
tell
buddy.
me if-
I don't know.
I bet our listeners love plows.
Did a half an hour spot on plows. This is awesome.
Name again.
Yeah.
Plow.
Number 1, Elton Brown.
I love it. I love it.
I feel like you've talked about him before
Yeah.
on this podcast.
Oh, yeah. Couple times.
Every day.
Every day.
Every
I
day.
wake up in the morning, I turn on Cutthroat Kitchen.
As one does. As one does.
You just wasted some of your life listening to the Bush League podcast. You must stop what you're doing right now. Like and subscribe and leave a 5-star rating. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and like us on Facebook.